Thank you very much for staying with us here on SABC News. We'll take you back to the memorial service of struggle stalwart Andrew Mlangeni. I do believe that Minister Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma was still giving her tributes to Ntate Mlangeni.
That we keep a healthy revolutionary distance from youth affairs and provide guidance and wisdom from that birthright. If we don't, we will be cursed by posterity and thus fail to emulate Istalandwe Andrew Mlangeni. The great servant of the people is no more. The indomitable soul has rested. The sharp tongue that spoke truth to power is silent. It is now upon us to extract valuable lessons, or else we'll perish like fools on the altar of political expediency. Lala ngoxolo Istalandwe Andrew Mlangeni. Kudala uzabalaza. Thank you very much.
I can't. Good afternoon, comrades, and good afternoon, Comrade Kalima. The ANC Veterans League is deeply saddened by the passing on of Tata Mlangeni Isitwalandwe Siaparangwe, the last remaining Rivonia trialist, a dedicated and a gallant fighter for the freedom of his people, right to the end of his adult life. Tata Mlangeni was a disciplinarian and did not compromise on the integrity and dignity of the ANC. When we accidentally met in Pretoria at No. 1 Military before the lockdown in March, he was extremely concerned with the ANC's political morality and lack of decisive action against those found wanting. I quote, "As a leader of society, we should always adhere to political morality, but retaining the moral high ground is what has defined us as the ANC for decades. We should not allow individuals who are greedy and unethical to destroy the trust we have from society," close quote, he said. Tata Mlangeni strived for ethical leadership in the ANC. As a member of the Integrity Commission, he boldly and fearlessly confronted those who were found wanting and demanded that they recuse themselves from their positions in the ANC and in government until they appear themselves. During the Inkatha debacle, when the highest court in South Africa, the Constitutional Court, ruled that President Zuma violated the Constitution when he failed to repay government money spent on his private home, Tata Mlangeni called for the then president to resign. When the former Minister of Communication, Dana Pule, was found guilty of willfully misleading Parliament in its inquiry, Tata Mlangeni called for a resignation from Parliament and that action be taken against him. Tata Mlangeni was happy with the outcome of the ANC's 54th conference, which elected Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa as the president of the ANC and adopted policy aimed at uniting, renewing, and rebuilding the ANC and dealing decisively with corruption. Tata Mlangeni, as a Veterans League, we will not disappoint you. We make a solemn promise that will ensure that the 54th conference resolution that says demands that every cadre accused or reported to be involved in corrupt practices account to the Integrity Commission immediately or faces a disciplinary committee. Tata Mlangeni, as a member of the Veterans League, we understand that those stepping aside in the face of allegations of corruption or unethical conduct is a question of principle. It should not be a question of being innocent until proven guilty. We will work tirelessly with the glorious movement to strengthen the ability of the ANC's Integrity Commission to act decisively without fear or favor against individuals who are implicated in corrupt activities. Tata Mlangeni, you have run the race. It is now up to the Veterans League to ensure that it intervenes authoritatively on all issues that affect the integrity and dignity of our glorious movement. Tata Mlangeni, we commit ourselves to the values, principles, and traditions of this, our glorious movement. We dare not disappoint you. Lalango Tata Mlangeni, Robalaka Khotso.
Thank you, comrades. Now we would like to call on the ANC Women's League, Comrade Batabile Dlamini.
Directors of the program, Comrade Lindy Sulu, Osazana Dlamini Zuma, the SG, the President, TG, NEC members, the Mlangeni family, the SACP, Kosatu, and Ubabu Mangosuthu. The ANC Women's League would like to pass its deepest condolences to the family of Ubaba Mlangeni. The Women's League would like to thank Baba Mlangeni for who he was. He was very outspoken and never waited for anyone to speak for him. But he never harbored antagonism and hatred. It is very clear to all of us why he joined the ANC. And we needed people and comrades and leaders, stalwarts like Baba Mlangeni to enjoy the fruits of liberation. It's very clear also that he had a full understanding of the full might of the apartheid system. And that is why he never thrived in divisions. After grilling you, for those who have been to the Integrity Commission, he would never make you an enemy. And he would talk to you nicely, treat you like a comrade. And when you meet him, you would expect him to act with a very negative and hard attitude, but he would accept you as a member of the African National Congress and a leader of the African National Congress. The heroic struggles he waged against the enemy led him up until his last days. He never surrendered. He never undermined people. And he had utmost respect for everyone and worked very hard up until his last days. He never left the ANC. And therefore, as the Women's League, we are calling upon all those that are South Africans and members of the ANC to, together with us, join those that are celebrating the life of Ubaba Mlangeni. And we plead to the coming generation after Babu Mlangeni, ukuthi siphathe ngoxolo, isilide ngendlela efanelekile, so that sizokwazi ukuba ne future engcono. Ngiyabonga. Join those that are celebrating.
Thank you, Comrade Batabile. The next speaker will be the branch speaker, Comrade Wilson.
Mandi, all proper protocol observed. Igamalam Dinguvuisile Mapaka, the chairperson of the branch in Mlangeni. Manditigu family, Tutu Segan family, Tutu, Ashtanga Lungis. On the 22nd of July, the minds of the community ceased to think due to the untimely death of our Stwalandwe Siamparangwe, the Rivonia trialist, a backyard boy, and a member of the ANC who consistently attended and contributed unconditionally his selflessness and effort to the constitutional meetings within the branch during the time of recess in Cape Town. But what we have also learned from this leadership was that you cannot despair. Helps. No one is the road to defeat. Now it's meant to go to despair helps no one and is the road to defeat. It therefore tells what we can't be in a position to despair from time to time. Without any theoretical grandstanding, Mlangeni displayed love, humility as the man of integrity within his community and globally. We learn from his ability, zeal, courage, and enthusiastic caliber, yet difficult, arrogant, sometimes appear not to be such to some of us, maar sterk face. We therefore don't forget the sterling role portrayed in kind and humanity by the Mlangeni Foundation. But also what we also learned from Uba Mlangeni was that ungafuna uphatha uphethwe uzenze icebo. Comrade Silo, in paying tribute to our stalwart, the branch must portray his wishes in combating the scourge around corruption and maladministration. We therefore cannot, at this juncture, allow those who think ANC is the fertile ground for looting. Allow me to quote the Lion of the Midlands, Umdala Comrade Kerikwana, open quote, irrespective of the conditions that one finds themselves in, never appeal to the temptations of a wayward back or scripture's rapid, keep your eyes on the ball, close quote. I want to also say once more, Comrade Silo, that the branch will pursue the initiative by the Each One Teach One Foundation in partnership with the Italionga alumni upon renaming the Italionga Senior Secondary School after Obaba Andrew Mlangeni.
Somlandela uthuli somlandela yonke indawo somlandela uthuli lapho ayakhona somlandela uthuli
Let me hand over to Comrade Lindiwe Sisulu now. Comrade Lindiwe, are you there?
Thank you very much to the
Is she there? Ask if she's there.
We can't hear her.
She's talking.
Sorting audio, thank you. We need to sort the audio. We can't hear her.
Who's sorting?
In Soweto.
Well, because
yes, in the venue they can hear her, but on Zoom and on YouTube and on Facebook.
That has been brought to our attention that Comrade Faida Kachalia, the daughter of Comrade Molvi Kachalia, passed away 5 minutes ago. May her soul rest in peace. We now go over to the following order. The speakers that follow reflect his multifaceted life in the following order. Is Twalanda Sophie de Brain, who herself was part of the glorious generation of the 50s, activists throughout their lives, who served with Mlangeni in the First Integrity Commission of the ANC. She will be followed by General Spiwe Nyanda, former Chief of Staff of Mkhonto Wesizwe, and a fellow golfer. Will be followed by Comrade Ronnie Castrols, who also served in Mkhonto Wesizwe, served in the ANC, NEC, and was a member of parliament and a minister. He will be followed by Comrade Tokyo Sefwale, speaking on behalf of Ex-Political Prisoners Association. And finally, we will have Comrade Fikile Mbalula, an example of Baba Mlangeni's commitment to passing on the baton and befriending people across all generations. We will take the speakers in that order, please, and we would request all of you, please, to stick to time. We are challenged by our technology, and we depend on you to stick to your time. Thank you. Over to you, Comrade Sophie de Brain.
Good afternoon, comrades and friends, and good afternoon also to the family of Comrade Andrew Mlangeni, to his son, Cello, his daughters, Sylvia and Maureen, and to all the other members of his family, and all protocol observed. Thank you, Program Director, for this distinct honor to have been asked to speak at this memorial gathering, paying homage to a unique human being who has so befittingly been described in numerous tributes this week, and which is also well documented. When I first learned from Comrade Kurun Bata that Comrade Andrew was hospitalized, I wasn't so much concerned about the COVID-19 because for some time he had been in and out of hospital for short periods, lasting for about 1 to 2 weeks. And so I took it for granted that Comrade Andrew would soon be out. But I must say I was very shocked when I received the news of his passing. To the full extent of it, when the full extent of it sunk in afterwards, and that is when my emotions played havoc with me. And I had to sit down for a bit to compose myself. For me, it seemed so sudden and unexpected. And you may wonder why. It is because I had become accustomed to him popping in and out of hospital. And when he was discharged, he carried on with his life normally. I knew Comrade Andrew since the 1950s during the old Congress days. He was, of course, senior to us youngsters, like Comrade Mosi Mula and Abdullah Jesset, to name a few. That was instrumental in the campaign for the Freedom Charter, that was drawn up and declared by the Congress of the People in Kliptown. And then years into our democracy, a democracy that he played such a key role in achieving. We were back in Kliptown for the nation building and cohesion launch a few years thereafter. And we had some time before the official event to stroll around the parts of Kliptown. This time, we saw no barren ground like in the 50s. There were now all manner of shacks and overlooking dwellings. And Comrade Andrew said to me, "Tell me, Sophie, what is it about our government that allows Kliptown to remain in such abject poverty? Such an important place that should have been given priority to be upgraded for obvious reasons." Seeing the neglect and degradation disappointed him greatly. During the years when Comrade Andrew and his fellow Rivonian trialists were locked up in Robben Island, I was living with the exile community in Lusaka. When we returned to South Africa, I was assigned to work at the ANC headquarters in Shell House as head of personnel in the office of the SG, Comrade Sir. Comrade Andrew was appointed head of transport, a duty he carried out diligently, efficiently, and he managed a lot of complexities. He was strict to a T and was determined that the ANC resources will not be utilized under any circumstances which will benefit those that used it. And so he often butted heads with some of his team drivers when they could not produce petrol slips. And until you provide it, that is when you'll be refunded, you will say to them. So in later years, we collaborated again in our work of the Integrity Commission of the ANC. Comrade Andrew was the chairperson and drove the IC for several years. He was appointed a member of the current IC until his last days. During his term as chairman of the IC, he always brought forth the need for high morale and ethical values for the ANC into our discussions and debates. He was a great listener, and he listened carefully to all opposing views. He listened, consulted, and was also strategic in his decision-making. All members of the ANC who appeared before the IC were treated with respect and compassion, regardless of their rank in the organization. Another quality of his was that he never favored any single view. His approach was fair, and he never hesitated to take unpopular and difficult decisions. Like in the case of the past president of that time, who was asked to step aside by the IC.
All right, we'll of course go back to the memorial service for struggle stalwart Andrew Mlangeni. We heard from Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, of course, who's battled with sound there, also paying her last tributes to Tate Mlangeni. Also heard from Dr. Snuki Zigalala saying that Mlangeni was a disciplinarian and took action against corrupt members and dealt decisively with corruption. That's sort of what most people are saying about Andrew Mlangeni as they speak and pay their tributes this afternoon. ANC Women's League President Bathabile Dlamini saying that Mlangeni was always very accepting and never undermining of people. So those are some of the things we're hearing and tributes that we're getting about Andrew Mlangeni this afternoon, as of course many of his compatriots, his former his ANC members, those who would have been in the struggle with today, in fact pay their last respects to him at the memorial service, part of which is taking place at his home in Soweto. All right, we'll take a short break. Do stay with us. We'll hopefully get you back to that memorial service after this.